Hello and welcome. I'm Phil Spencer, and today I'm looking at what your options might be if you're unable to pay the rent and at risk of losing your home. There's a new product that is designed to protect you, the tenant, if you can't pay the rent. And I'm going to be talking about why this is something you should seriously consider. By the way, please do subscribe to this channel by clicking the alert notification so you don't miss my top tips on all aspects of home, renting, buying and moving. But in this episode, Move IQ is working with insurance specialists, legal and general, to raise awareness of the importance of rental protection. So let's try it and find out some more. Finding a home to rent can actually be even harder than finding one to buy nowadays. You need to consider not only location and what the accommodation offers, but also the condition of the property and any restrictions that the landlord might have attached to it. So there are an awful lot of things to think about. No wonder that having found their rental home and secured it and moved in, most renters intend to stay put for 3 years or more. But it's fair to say a lot can happen in that time. And no doubt one of your biggest fears as a renter is finding yourself in a situation where you can't pay the rent and you face losing your home. If you're a tenant, did you know that you're likely to spend a larger proportion of your income on monthly rent than a home buyer does on a monthly mortgage payment? So renting is a big financial commitment, and there are some common reasons that people find themselves unable to pay the rent through no fault of their own. What happens if you're involved in an accident that means you're unable to work? And a serious long-term illness could mean you're unable to work for longer than your employer will extend any sick pay. Now, no one wants to contemplate the death of a partner, but if you rely on someone else to jointly pay the rent, you could face losing your home as well as your loved one. Nightmare situation. And these life-changing events are not the kind of thing that we really like to spend time thinking about. But the reality is, if any of these do actually happen to you, you could face not only dealing with a traumatic experience, but also being unable to pay the rent. And if that happens, what are your options? Do you have a sympathetic landlord who'll waive the rent? And if so, how long might they do that for? Or would you be asked to move out as soon as you default? And if you stay and don't pay, then this of course is likely to have an impact on your credit rating and therefore your chances of renting or buying in the future. So maybe you have savings that you could use, but do you know how long your savings would keep the roof over your head if something happened tomorrow, for instance? Research by Legal and General reveals that nearly 30% of UK employees say they had no financial backup should they or a partner be unable to work. In fact, on average, without their usual income, employees in the UK would be on the breadline in just 32 days. So if you do have savings, it's worth sitting down to work out how long yours would last. A 2019 Legal and General survey showed that parental support is a vital resource for many, and not just for young adults either. Even those in their 30s and 40s are turning to parents for financial support. The amounts that Bank of Mum and Dad is lending increased by 10% from 2018 to 2019. Of course, not everyone is in a fortunate enough position to support their children like this. It's not an easy subject to approach, but it's better to have an honest conversation than assume that your mum and dad could bail you out and then find out at the last minute that you're wrong. If you are employed and do find yourself unable to work due to sickness, most people are entitled to statutory sick pay, which is around £94 and paid for up to 28 weeks. Again, it's worth calculating if you could keep paying the rent and bills on this alone. There is, however, an easy and more reliable way to protect yourself and your family should times get tough. Legal and General's Rental Protection Plan offers simple, flexible options to help provide some financial security for you or your family should the worst happen. It's not a savings or investment plan, so there's no cash value ever attached to it. But what it does is provide insurance if you were to become ill or injured and unable to work. Ultimately, the reason I think it's important is that it offers peace of mind. and that's actually quite hard to put a price on. Whichever option you choose, don't leave things to chance. Make a plan and join me next time for more essential renters advice. Thanks for watching.